Alrighty, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. It's Easter, and I think it is about time that I open up this conversation. Hello, everybody. So, today, after we go bully our other co-host.
Well, I can see me.
And USN coming in with a tier 1 for 7 months saying butts.
But
Great way to get started here. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate you. Let me turn my camera on. Turn on camera. There we go. Yeah. You got my little wolf friend here. Yeah. So, there we go. We got Mr. No Soul for Me.
I was doing a thing.
No.
You okay? So, Alexa, add adult diapers to my list, please.
Yeah, there we go.
Give me a break.
Hey, man, we're adults. We're all mature here. If you need diapers, that's understandable. Being incontinent sucks.
Hey, man. Hey. Can't trust those farts when you got a flu. Simple
So,
as that.
I believe this is our third podcast now, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I believe so, yeah.
We're mature some days. We're mature some days.
We opened with that shit. I'm proud of us. I'm proud.
I'm not sure about that. Oh, no, we totally are. Most days. I think.
Comedic perfection.
So, today I didn't do a whole lot of advertising for this one. I mean, I already said butt stuffs. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, he comes in with his 7th month of tier 1 and just says butt stuff.
All I saw when I loaded into the chat, and I was like, oh my.
But I'm excited for today because I get to have a topic that I'm probably going to have to be told to shut up and move on from.
I don't know, because, like, I feel the exact same way about Final Fantasy. You will eventually hit, like, a repeat button.
That's true. But, Borderlands. I'm coming back to Borderlands because I'm revisiting Borderlands 3. And I bought it when it came out. And then I beat it. And then I was like, I think I'm done. I went through Mayhem 5. I'm good. Woo, yeah. What's up, Shadow Weaver? How you doing, brother?
This is your retrospective.
Like, yes. It's basically like what were my first impressions, and then now that I'm coming back, what am I like experiencing for it? And to put it plainly, through the first playthrough, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I was behind all the hype. I'm like, yep, I'm buying the $120 version of the game, and I did, like, stupidly. But I got it on digital, so I didn't even get the gold case, and it was a bad idea. And
well, you got a gold case? I just got a metal one.
It's metal. It's a metal case that's colored gold.
Oh, mine's like a hard.
I did the same exact thing, but no, I didn't even buy the hard copy. I just bought the. I just bought the other one.
Just the digital version, yeah.
Yeah, which I should have bought it because the case looks cool and it's gonna have value eventually, and I could sell it because Borderlands, in my opinion, is one of the greatest game series to ever come out.
I mean, but I'm the idiot that spent the like one something on like the super awesome deluxe edition of like the remake, and I played it one time, and then I speed read it like 3 times, and I deleted it.
Yikes!
But going through it the first time was really. I mean, it was fresh. It was new. I didn't like the Calypso twins. I definitely didn't like Ava. I don't think she deserves the hate that she got, but I definitely think that they overdid the teen angst. And I got the 120, played the campaign, enjoyed it, but didn't feel motivated to go back after the campaign. Here's the thing, the DLC, now that all the DLC is released and there was a full edition that I could just buy it all together, that's what brought me back in. I'm like, I played through Love, Guns, and Tentacles, and then Krieg's DLC. Which, by the way, just for anyone here, it is spoiler warning territory. This entire subject is going to be spoiler warning territory. So I'm sorry, but the game's been out for over a
wait a
year.
second. You also could give a retrospective without spoiler warning. Like you're giving a retrospective. Remember that.
It's a comparison though. Like it's like looking
It's a
back at what.
retrospective.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I know. I'm
you're
not.
looking back.
I don't have someone leveled for that, dude. I can't do it yet. But we're definitely gonna be playing some more of that next week. But once I can figure out what the hell's going on with my frames, because it runs 120 when I'm not live. But besides the point. So the big thing that changed for me coming back to the game was the fact that I got bored of Borderlands 2. I think it is crossplay with the Shift. Like if you have a Shift account, it's
not.
crossplay.
There is no crossplay.
There is cross. It keeps talking about having crossplay though. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
It gives crossplay between PC and no matter what store you're running it from. But PS4 and Xbox can't crossplay. PS4 and PC can't crossplay. You can't crossplay. It's like now there's like Steam and Epic.
Yeah.
You can crossplay Steam and Epic. You cannot crossplay console to PC or console to console. They wanted to do that for the PS5 and the Series 1, but they haven't done it.
It's because they haven't released the update for it yet. Though also ultimately, besides that point, trying to get on track here, damn it. What disappointed me most of the beginning was the fact I didn't like the Calypso twins. USN, 1,000 biddies. You're insane. You're crazy. Thank you. I'm trying to have a conversation.
Keep derailing. Keep derailing.
Keep derailing me. But
are we doing this? Cracks knuckles and derail.
This isn't D&D, damn it. We're not on that subject yet.
You don't think I can make it that way? Time out. I got one word: flumps.
I'm just here to disrupt the podcast. Yeah, of course you are.
Oh boy.
But
so keep going, Bray. Preston.
So the Calypso twins weren't an intriguing enemy to me. I didn't like them a whole lot, and
really,
because they were obnoxious. They were annoying. They're not an enemy I love to hate. I just wanted to kill them so I won't have to hear their fucking voices again. Like
That's
they were
a very big reason why I don't like them either. Like they were the very definition of like the YouTuber that's really just like an asshole.
But here's the thing. After, the Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all those other current controversies with streamers and YouTubers and all that, I came, after going through that and kind of looking at it, I realized they're amazing villains. Yep. They are great villains because Borderlands has always been about parody. They parody everything. We went through this last podcast with Pain and Terror. They had a like Carmen Santiago enemy. They have the Power Rangers as enemies. Like there is a lot of parody. So coming back to it and realizing they're the villains that Borderlands needed, because in Borderlands 2 you had that charismatic asshole that you just loved to hate him. No, still can't believe they got Penn and Teller. Yeah. We went through that last
There's a lot of rumors surrounding how they actually got Penn and Teller. One of them being that they're big fans of a series, and they asked Gearbox, and Gearbox was like,
let us create something for you.
Yeah, so a lot of the rumors came from, so Penn apparently is a big fan of the Borderlands series, and Teller, I don't know if Teller likes it. I know that Teller is about 20 years older than Penn is. Anyway, Penn was talking to Gearbox one day about like possibly having a cameo in the game. He didn't want anything big. kind of wanted like an Alfred Hitchcock-esque, oh, here's an NPC, they look very similar, like Pen and apparently Gearbox like sent them like a beta copy or like some kind of like copy to like mess with and play with or something. And they were noting about how like the third boss was this like I think it was supposed to be some all I remember is that said celebrity got thrown in like controversy or something like in the making of it. They didn't want to put him in because like they thought it'd be really bad. I don't want to throw speculation, but like my thing, I guess, is that it was Robin Williams because like it's got that energy. They
Right.
said it had high energy, and it didn't have like voice lines or anything, but it looked oddly familiar to a friend, and they put that in big quotes. So my speculation is like Robin Williams because like high energy to me in like the Star world is Robin Williams. And we all know that Williams died like 3 years before it Borderlands 3 came out, but they were really like in the design
Right.
period for that. So they kind of had to like switch gears, like no pun intended. So they were like,
Right.
well,
Right.
Ken and
Yeah.
Tyler want to be in the game. We can just like make a boss fight around this because like we want to give them like this grandiose thing. And that's why how sometimes like in a movie, like when you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can hear a smile like the
Oh
entire
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
That's why like a lot of Penn's lines, you can like hear a smile because he's just happy to be there. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's what made that's just like a random ass tangent, but that's the rumor that I've heard was it was supposed to be like a small part that they wanted, and then Gearbox was like, y'all are a boss because X. Like nobody knows the exact thing, only Gearbox does, but I've got
So
speculations on the stars.
so there could be it could be a lot because a lot of controversy surrounded a lot of celebrities over the past 5 years, and that's where Borderlands 3 was in development for, I think, eight.
Yeah,
It was
it
in
started
development for eight
like
years,
a year
which
after 2 or something.
which is actually no, it was in development before two, right before two was released. They had done two, they did their playtesting, like, oh, we already know this could be a great game. We're gonna make three already. That's at least what I heard is that they were like, we've already got this in development. But
Yeah.
so just real quick, the reason why it took so long to see a lot of the for Borderlands 3 to come out was because they really wanted a good game, especially after the pre-sequel was a playtest for 3. Whether you
Yeah.
people like believe that or not, for me, I definitely saw it as they tried something new, it sucked, and they're like, no, we're gonna go back to what Borderlands 2 did very well. Yeah, with the pre-sequel when it was released. The pre-sequel though was just meant to stave off us Borderlands junkies, which they did a good job also with Tales from the Borderlands and
Mhm.
incorporating those characters into Borderlands 3 with Reese and Lorelei, which Reese is a great character
God, I
ultimately.
love Reese.
It's just he reminds me of the charismatic bitch.
Yeah. He's
Everyone loves him, but he's a wimp.
and now I'm gonna be the weird one in the podcast. Now I like Borderlands 3, and I'm coming back to this as a like as somebody who played it during like the hype period, and then waited like 4 or 5 months, and then like played through it again like New Game Plus, and like honestly, Borderlands 3. How do I put this? You can have a great game and a mediocre story, and you can have a mediocre game and a great story. Like BL3, in my opinion, had a very mediocre like story. Now, that's not saying that it was like terrible, but like if you look at it from like I guess a point A to point B perspective, like nothing affected the story. It didn't matter like what you did. And granted, like it was meant to be linear. It's an RPG shooter. I get that.
It's the big focus of the game was the guns. It's the guns.
Yeah,
It's the
and
guns and
that's
the
fine.
puns. It's the puns and the guns. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's great. But like to me, it comes down, and I'm not looking for something. I'm going to use Greedfall as an example because that's the worst. Like, I'm not looking for something like Greedfall or Mass Effect. I'm not looking for something that deep. But like, I'm looking for something to at least change. I'm looking for the ability to like semi change the outcome of the story. And again, I get it. It's Borderlands. You're not supposed to. But like 3 was the most railroady. Like they
Okay.
were all linear.
The hallway simulator basically.
Yeah, but that's okay because like they were meant to be. It's like Preston said, it's about the jokes and the guns and
And the
the
innuendo.
world is open.
And the innuendo.
Yeah.
And okay, so real quick, just because USN did just do another gifted sub to Shadowweaver, make sure to say thank you. And thank you as well, USN, for that. You are a crazy, insane
Thank you,
person. We
USN.
love you. No, but USN's right here. So the pre-sequel wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. It just wasn't near the same legendary status that 2 has, because 2 had some very big shoes to fill. Here's the thing, though. Borderlands the pre-sequel is even worse now that Borderlands 3 is out, at least in my opinion, because you cannot throw a game that mediocre out there. Because every game... No, I know it wasn't, but I was planning on cutting off anyways, buddy.
You're cool. You're cool.
So, with Borderlands the pre-sequel, like, Borderlands 1 is not... It's the second to weakest games. The second to weakest game out there, but it's still good because it had that shock value. It's got a nostalgia factor to it. If I were to go back then today, I'd probably still enjoy it just as much now as I did the first time I played it.
Well, name a game that made a song so iconic that as soon as you hear the opening guitar riff, you immediately think of getting off the Borderlands bus.
Borderlands.
Like, yeah, like name a different game that like you can hear like the opening riff to a guitar and it invokes that feeling of like pure curiosity of like what's going on. But there's a reason that and I don't know if I've used it recently, but I've always used the term fresh off the Borderlands bus. And that literally, because like I said, what other game is just all of a sudden you hear one of the greatest guitar riffs of all time, and you're on a bus with some fat dude who's talking about how you might die.
Yeah,
like,
no. It has that similar effect that Halo 2 had with the Breaking Benjamin song.
Yeah,
for Breaking Benjamin, but what makes Borderlands the pre-sequel so weak is the fact that it's mediocre. Gearbox doesn't do mediocre. I'm sorry. Like, there's not a single Gearbox game that I've played that has felt really overly just, it's a game. The pre-sequel is not a bad game, but it's not a good one either. That's where it falls short, because you have Borderlands with, the iconic experience, the shock value, the holy hell, everyone here is crazy, even the good guys. Like, they're all fucked up people. And then you move to Borderlands 2, and you got someone like Handsome Jack. And again, music's iconic for these games. Like, Borderlands 1 had No Rest for the Wicked by Crazy Elephant. Borderlands 2 had Short Change Hero by The Heavy.
Oh, dude,
want to talk about a hard-hitting song. And then Borderlands 3 had another song by The Heavy, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, they come in, they're like, we're going to set the atmosphere with the intro. And they do that 100%. Very well. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, though, didn't have that same effect. Tales felt bad to me, but that's not me. Like, okay.
You want to know something sad, though? I can't remember the intro song to the pre-sequel.
Nobody does. So, hold up.
Borderlands. You were talking about like weak games in a series. Yeah, like if you can't remember the intro song to a Borderlands game, and you're like, dude,
yeah,
I don't know, like
the name of the song is Black Dragon by the Vines.
Who the fuck are the Vines?
One, you're uncultured for not knowing that, but it's okay.
No, good sir, I'm not uncultured. It's just A, who are the Vines? B, could you have chosen a more generic, like, song name? Like,
I think you may have pissed in Preston's Cheerios there.
A little
I'm
bit, but it's okay. It's not the thing is that it's not memorable though. That's the problem, is that the song didn't really set the atmosphere for the environment. USM brings up a good point too. Gearbox messed up killing Handsome Jack off. Ha. I'm glad they didn't just keep using him over and over until it got bad. No, they did that completely right. They should have killed Handsome Jack and left some mystery behind it with the other games. They've left little breadcrumbs that he might still be out there. But Hyperion's no longer the giant it was. Handsome Jack is mentally, like, if he's still alive, he's crippled. Like, there's nothing what made Handsome Jack so powerful was the wealth and the power behind him with Hyperion. Hyperion, thanks to our heroes in Borderlands 2, they're nothing. They're done. They're ashes right now, as they say in Borderlands 3. And that actually is a great point to bring into what Borderlands 3 does great. They brought back Atlas. Which anyone who played Borderlands 1 knows for a fact they were the hard hitter. Atlas and Tediore were the biggest Tediore were the biggest hitters lore-wise in that game.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3, Handsome Jackpot uses one of his clones. I mean, they say it's one of his clones, but they also hint that he might not be. There's a lot to it, but that's a subject for another time.
We'll talk about that later, yeah.
A big part of what Borderlands 3 did very well is, besides its kind of off pacing, the pacing felt a little weird. I think it was done on purpose, to kind of throw you off, because what Borderlands 3 does really well is you and yourself are powerful. You are a powerful, like, you've got Amara, Flak, and all. These people have evaded the wars that have been going along for so long. Flak is essentially the most powerful hunter out there. Like, no one can out-hunt him. Amara, which lore-wise is this, like ability-wise is the weakest Siren, at the same time is clever enough and is physically powerful enough to where the Calypso twins couldn't get near her. Lore-wise, there's no way they could have gone near her. If you look at her lore, she's a tough customer. And then you've got Zane.
Well, hold on. I mean, Amara is a prize fighter, and she's a Siren.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's like mega famous and a Siren. So like the Calypsos couldn't even get near her.
There's no way. Like, good luck, because she's got corporate assets protecting her, and a Siren. She's amazing. I love her character. And you've got Mose, who, again, corporate affiliation. Actually, the biggest the biggest one that's all about war, Vladov. You're not touching the Russia of the Borderlands universe either. But they in themselves, in their own rights, are the best out there. Like, these are the best of the best. You got Zane, the world's most insane assassin that not even Zero is just kind of like, who the fuck are you? Like, but he's a brother to Captain Flint from the Borderlands 2. He's his brother. There's 3 of them, apparently, and the other one we don't know. I can't remember what happens to him, but
it's Zane's clone.
Pretty much.
But like, you go through and you look at the way that they purposefully set up. Yeah, they are the Russia of Borderlands. Okay, you can't fight me on that one. Vladov.
Don't be stealing my shit. Don't be stealing my fight me.
Changed my mind. But they set up the power of the main characters of who you're playing very well, which Borderlands has done always great, that these are overly exceptional individuals. But the power scaling of, like, you had to be compared to Lilith and Maya for, like, come on. You get compared to those 2 individuals, and you stomp the Calypso twins. When you go to those boss fights, you stomp them. The only reason why they're so... It's because they, spoiler alert, they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly how to do what they had to do. They just needed to trick people into doing it for them because of the dangers associated. Oh yeah, that's going on a clip. But the Calypso twins aren't actually as like I said, aren't as obnoxious. In fact, they're a great parody to what what effectively, at least in my opinion, I agree with it, is what we see in modern media. What it's become, it's a pissing contest of who's the biggest and baddest. You see between the twins how they start to bicker after Troy gets powers. They start to bicker, they argue, they literally have turf wars with each other, and they're the cult leaders. Like, you actually see like them devolve through their own selfish wants and needs. Troy is
Okay,
considered a
real quick
parasite.
though. Yeah, but like that entire shtick though, being that like Troy finally has like that taste. Like Troy's backstory is super super tragic. Like the fact that like for X amount of time the dude was considered like useless, a parasite, and all of a sudden he's got this power, and now there's because I don't see Troy's like and again like Troy does have his own agenda. Like I'm not
Yeah.
saying that he does, but like now all of a sudden this agenda has turned from like his sister's agenda like his, and his is like I just want to be like known.
Yeah, he
Like
wants the fame. He's the one that wanted the fame. She wants the
yeah,
power.
he goes from not being able to have like a say to all of a sudden now he does, and she hates it. She hates the fact that now he's not some like lapdog that has to rely on her, and she has all the power. For now, he technically, and I put this in big old quotes, technically is like the most powerful, I guess, because I mean he technically is a siren, but we'll put person because of his ability.
Yeah, no, I mean he is
Yeah,
technically the most powerful siren because he has two siren abilities.
that well, he has the ability to absorb any siren ability and then
Mm-hmm.
manifest it on his own. While also like because after he absorbs Maya, he doesn't need to have power top offs anymore to do anything. He's a
No,
full
because
fledged siren.
he can now use Maya's abilities to feed.
Well, even without that,
Actually, no, yeah, he doesn't need to feed at all
you don't need
anymore.
he doesn't need the top off anymore. And I think, and see, this is the thing. This is where I think he has his own agenda, but it's like different than what originally like everybody's thinking. Because after he grabs Maya and absorbs her, and all of a sudden she doesn't feel good, Mr. Stark. Uh, he's like, "Oh, do you have any left for me?" And he like feeds off of his sister, right? Well, like, who's to say that he
We don't.
hasn't just been banking like he has been banking all of this power to eventually just be like, by the way, you don't feel good, Mr. Stark, either. And then it just calls it a day.
Okay, I will say this. No, he did not have any clue. He thought he could only take from his sister.
Yeah,
That
well,
whole
he didn't
time.
know until then. He didn't know until then. Like, yes, I know that. Like, after that, like, Troy's not stupid. Troy is not a
No, he's the
dumb
brains
person.
of the operation. He's the brains of the
So, like,
operation.
who's to say that immediately after that, after he's like, because you can see it, and granted, like, it's cell shaded, like, you can kind of like sense this tone shift after
Yeah,
like, she's like, I thought you could only feed for me. And he's like, oh,
I guess not.
same.
Literally,
Anyway,
you see his
yeah,
personality change in that moment. At first, he was just brash and he just talked shit because his sister over there can protect. Can back
yeah.
it up. Now he can back it up.
All of a sudden now
And he
we
knows he
have
can.
like potential, like legitimate universal threat that isn't the vault. Like, and granted, like, didn't get enough time. Think of Troy if he had like
Come in.
survived and then just been like, Lilith, give me a hug. Like,
Yeah, man.
and again, I understand, it's part of the game. There's a lot of stuff there that isn't making sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Got interrupted.
I gotta mute real quick.
Okay, so and this is a point for me to take back over real quick. So there's, I wouldn't call Troy an anti-siren. He's a siren. He's a half siren. Like the only reason he is one is because they were conjoined twins. a big issue that surrounds I see people have about about this kind of stuff is that we don't have a whole lot of confirmation. Like, yeah, you can go through all the lore bits, that you can find about the sirens and whatnot. But it does say they exclusively are one all female. They are. The only reason Troy is because he was a conjoined twin. He's an exception, which technically, Tyrene Calypso is the most powerful. Her powers are the best because she can leech life out of people from a distance. She can take people's powers, and it works. And it's how the siren that had that power in the past had that power. That's how she behaved. She was very tyrannical and power hungry because they got more powerful the more they fed. Um, I like that they I like the fact that they built upon it a little bit, but I feel like they built upon it a little bit too much, and they haven't done much with it. They haven't done much with what they have with sirens. And then the other thing that we're missing clues in is the seraphs. Like, Handsome Jack had been full of shit when he said that, though. He wasn't. It's confirmed. 6 sirens. It's confirmed in Borderlands
Yeah,
3. There's only 6.
yeah. There's only 6 that can exist at a time. That's why,
Troy isn't even an exception to that because technically conjoined twins are one organism, so they account as one siren. And
which
as
is
of
really weird.
why do you think it's weird?
Oh my gosh. Are you ready for something that literally just popped into my head?
What's up?
What's up?
Only 6 sirens can exist
Mm-hmm.
at one time.
Yeah,
Now,
because of the 6 powers that sirens have.
because of the 6 powers that sirens have. Well, hear me out. What if Troy has and this is going back to absorbing Maya, and you might get this as I'm saying it. What if Troy has the ability to touch absorb instead of range absorb like his sister? What if the killing of Maya is not the absorption? The killing of Maya is the thing that awoke his siren powers because now there were only 5 and he filled that gap.
No.
But why?
They explained in lore it can only be female. The sirens, that lore that you find, because they're directly tied to Iridians. Iridians created sirens, and they also created the seraphs. And lore, what we see in lore is that no, there can only be 6 female sirens. He never had siren powers.
By your argument of being one organism, technically right there has the genes to be a siren. Just because sirens are female, because of the conjoined twin genes, Troy is still technically gene wise. So if you look at joined twins, and they are male and female. No joke, the female has as many male genes as the male has as many female genes. They're the closest thing to a hermaphrodite that you can get without being a hermaphrodite, gene wise. In all technicality, genetically speaking, Troy is able to be a siren just off of that specific.
Well, so the thing is, like, and I keep saying, because Amara leads to knowing where another siren is. Like, Amara apparently knows where another siren is. The what's the Iridian Guardian from Borderlands, the pre-sequel, knows where all of them are. And talks about a coming war or whatever, but it said with a siren. Pre-sequel talks about going to war against a siren, not sirens.
Well, Troy technically wasn't part of that. I mean, Troy was part of the war, but like, you're killing Tyrene.
You kill Troy
Doesn't
too.
mean that. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that like could tell the future. He's just like you're going to. The prophecy states that there will be a war between.
The Calypso twins were alive at the time of the pre-sequel.
They? I didn't
Yes,
think they were.
because the events of the pre-sequel happen 5 years, I think, before the events of Borderlands. No, no, yeah, they're a couple years before the events of Borderlands 1. Borderlands 1 is 5 years after Borderlands 2, and then 5 more years. So the Calypsos were young children at that time, but their powers would have already manifested by then.
But Ava's don't manifest until she's like 15.
Because Maya was still alive.
So, but her powers only manifest after Troy dies. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because he stole them through the leech ability that he has because he's Tyrene.
I get that.
They're not two separate sirens. They are one siren. The leech siren in lore has stolen the power of the other sirens before. Troy's not a siren. He's not. If anything, he could be a seraph, which I wish we knew more of, because that would make sense to me, because seraphs aren't exclusively, we don't know if they're exclusively female or not, but they're powerful entities like the sirens. We just don't know what their exclusions are. They were made alongside sirens as well. It's very possible. I just think it's unlikely.
Okay, so are you ready for this? According to official lore and canon, Troy is a siren.
Then why the fuck would they say that they can only be female? They're shooting themselves in the foot there. It's saying, well, as long as if you have a twin that's a guy, he could be a siren too.
Because of the conjoined twin thing.
I'm saying that he doesn't count as a siren though. I'm saying that he doesn't count as the 7 or the 6.
And why is he considered an actual siren?
I'm saying he doesn't count as the 6.
So he is a siren, but he doesn't count as a numbered siren.
Yeah, I'm saying that he doesn't count as one of the sirens from lore, that there's only 6.
Right. So he counts. He's tied with Tyrene for the number.
Yeah. He has siren abilities. Yeah. Okay. If they're saying that he's a siren, but he doesn't count as the 6.
He's the leech siren along with Tyrene.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that point, that's crazy, which is the leech power is split, so they're both halves. Yeah, because she can only pull from living
She's
organisms.
ranged and he's melee, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I guess it's just, to me, my brain was like, coincidence is too perfect. Like the coincidence was just too perfect. That's all. I was like, at that point in time, it technically was like, wait a minute, because my brain connected the fact that like Maya died, Troy was there, Ava didn't have her powers, Troy dies, Ava has her powers, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he counts as a numbered siren, because I think that would throw a lot of the other lore stuff you hear about, because you've got Amara, so you've got phase lock, phase grasp, phase shift.
Here, I've got it.
Firehawk, leech. We're only missing one.
Phase walk, phase lock, phase shift, phase trance, and phase leech, all of which have the same role. This means that there's at least one unknown power likely belonging to Steel in the first game.
That's right. Steel was a siren that we just don't get to see her powers because she charged the key. That's right.
Which makes me think it's probably
it's that kid from the pre-sequel, at the end of the pre-sequel. It's either from Tales or...
Wait a second.
What?
Wait a second. So in Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack reveals that only 6 sirens existed in game, but this does not appear to be completely true. There have only been 6 sirens active at any given time so far. Yet Nereid reveals the existence of a 7th siren in BL3. According to Nereid's final Iridian writing in the game, there's a 7th that must be found, likely meaning that she never died. Otherwise, her abilities would have cropped up somewhere in the galaxy.
So that just means that we've got a very old, powerful siren that hasn't been found yet.
So, like, crazy. crazy powerful.
Yeah. So that actually furthers my argument.
That could be
confirms
the
my
raid boss.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it could be the big raid boss coming up. Yeah.
Informational podcast ho, says Mr. Sir Hammerlock. Again, one of my favorite characters. They did Hammerlock justice in Borderlands 3, by the way. They did him some serious justice about fleshing him out. Like, like I said, I love Borderlands because of the representation. I remember me and my cousin playing, and he talks about I think in Borderlands 2 he talks about his old boyfriend, but I think it flew over our heads because when they revealed that his husband or fiance was the owner of Jacobs, we lost our minds. We're like, what? Like, talk about a power couple.
And the raid boss has already been mentioned, so I'm wrong, but
we're
that could be
probably going to
something
see it
for
in
the
Borderlands.
future.
We're probably going to see it in the next Borderlands
Possibly, yeah.
installation.
They're also talking about, because I was just thinking about this, but like, so you've got, so let's presume that Steel is alive. We're gonna presume that Steel has. He's gotten Tyrene's leech. Like, it could be anywhere in the galaxy right now, man.
Claptrap.
Yeah.
No, Claptrap's girlfriend.
But that's anywhere in the galaxy.
Another Varkid raid boss, of course.
That's a lot to take in. Like, who knows?
Borderlands 3 was a lore dump, and a lot of people believe it is not the war that the Iridian Guardian was talking about in the first place. I actually subscribe to that theory. I don't think. Yeah, we all miss Scooter, buddy. But I really catch a ride. But I don't think it is because it didn't feel as large scale, and that whole like we've all played through Borderlands 3, so we all know that ending
was very unsatisfactory.
Was very. In my opinion. It felt like the halfway point, the actual halfway point to this fight. They took out the destroyer, like the actual destroyer that Tyrene fused herself with for whatever fucking reason. Makes no sense to me, but whatever.
Because power.
Because power. Which then the whole moment where it's like you seen those memes where they're just like, and it's just a robot with three pets. Yep. It's basically what happened there. Which again, you have to understand that in these games though, that all 4 Vault Hunters are fighting together. Like they are going through this together.
Nobody's like against each other. In technicality, the way that I've always seen this is like the 4 Vault Hunters are kind of always together, like always fighting together. Like these guys
because they're being sent on missions together.
Yeah, it isn't like Flack is doing their own thing and Mose is doing her own thing, Mars doing her own thing, and everybody else is kind of doing their thing. It's like y'all are together. Y'all have been like a D&D party for like 8 sessions now. Y'all know each other, like your friends, your family. You fight for your friends and family. That's why even like Flack, who is like the second most self-sufficient character in the game apart from
Zane,
Mose, like has support abilities. Mose has like party buffing abilities. It's not because the game is meant to be played with like 4 people. It just is.
Yeah. And it's designed like story-wise they're all fighting together. So like you have to understand that like in Borderlands 1 lore-wise they barely push the destroyer back in. Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack wiped the floor with the original 4, killed one of them, and gave the new 4 a run for their money. And then those old 4 from Borderlands 2 are now basically like, you guys are insanity. Like, you guys are crazy. And again, it goes to show that they keep up the power scaling. They're like, we have to up the power, but we're going to do it right with our characters. Flack?
Yeah.
Amazing. No, don't bring up Bloodwing. Please don't. That hurt me. That made me angrier than Roland's death. That made me so much angrier. I'm like, it's a burb. Why'd you kill the burb? You frickin' tool.
And that's I 100% agree with you on that one. A lot of people forget that too. A lot of people forget that like Borderlands is like Gearbox has even said it's like a D&D camp.
I agree. Next, why'd you force the owner to kill the burb? More like it.
Yeah, like D&D was such a huge like because so back when like BL1 came out, I didn't play a whole lot of D&D. Shocker, I know. Like it didn't occur to me like it was super like and to be played together.
Yeah.
Like to me, Borderlands 1 was like it's an RPG with like 4 different classes you run through. And then like I kind of understood in like BL2 that like it was meant to be played with everybody.
Yeah.
Because like you miss out. Like you can play it solo, miss out on so much like inter-party dialogue. It's it kind of sucks to be honest with you because if you play through like BL3 now, like not three, but like two or one, like casually, and you try and like play casually with everything, nobody's playing it casually. They're like bum rushing through because they just want to get the best shit.
Oh yeah, because
You
that's the allure
Yeah.
of the game is the crazy
yeah,
guns.
like there's a lot of like inner party dialogue that like that's like on point with like the memeiest of memey D&D groups. Like really, it I think in like BL2, if you're playing as Zero, and I think somebody is playing as I think it's Brick. Like there's a line that can happen where Brick is like, Zero, can you teach me how to be an assassin? And Zero just doesn't respond for like 4 minutes. And then you hear Zero go, my bad, my helmet's hearing aid was off or something. Like it's this like super mean, it's like this super fun dynamic that like game has that people never get to experience. And BL3 has it too. There's one between Flack and Mose where if Mose like cracks your ult, Flack is like, hey, I remember when you were built. And like that's all that's said.
Okay, so
And like
real quick, I just want to say hello to everyone that has been interacting so far. So hello to Shadow Weaver, USN, Next Incendiary, and Craziest Canuck. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Easter. Um, but there's a lot to Zane and Flack. The interaction between Zane and Flack is beautiful. Honestly, they constantly are basically like, "Oh, who could get more kills?" You know, because one's an
yeah,
assassin, one's a beast master, like one's a master hunter. You know, and so I'm gonna round out my segment real quick, so we can move on. Because again, this is one of those subjects where it just won't stop because there's a lot to unpack. Borderlands 2, once it lost its allure to me, once it lost that nostalgia factor, and I came back to play Borderlands 3, I realized it's a much better game than people realize. Ava is actually an amazing answer to the Calypso twins. You know, that shitty, angsty, angry teen. She is them. She is them without the guidance that they needed. Their father was flawed innately. He was more concerned about, sheltering them because he was fearful of the world, whereas Ava was allowed to explore it, you know. And then you've got the Calypso
The
twins.
galaxy, but yeah.
Yeah, the world. But you're right. The world. I
Yeah.
meant the galaxy. They weren't allowed to. It's taken me a long time to forgive. It's going to take me a long time to forgive Ava. It's not Ava's fault though, and I've went through when I played. I realized it's not because they were gonna kill Maya regardless. They outclassed her completely. There's no way she would have gotten out because they would have come out of the vault anyways and seen them. That confrontation would have happened anyways. It's not Ava's fault. Ava didn't get her killed. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. It's Lilith's fault in the first place. Because Lilith held back in her fight against the Calypso twins. Lilith is the most powerful Siren, confirmed thus far, and she held back.
well,
It is not Ava's fault. It
that's
is
another
Lilith's.
question. That's another question though. Who got Firehawk powers, by the way.
Oh, we have no
Like,
fucking clue. We got no
yeah, I
clue.
know. We have two of like the strongest siren powers just off in the middle of
Just
fucking nowhere.
no one knows where they
Like,
are.
we do. And nobody knows where they're at, what's going on. And honestly, like you said, I feel like the ending to 3 was like the ending to the
I
Avengers
won't take
movie,
it back. I
where
said
I
what I said.
wanted half my money back. I wanted half my money back because I only got half a movie. You know? Like,
And
I feel like that's probably going to be like BL4. Like the setup for BL4 is going to be something like that.
and then here's the other thing that Borderlands 3, which in my opinion actually makes it better than Borderlands 2 for the modern era. Lilith was a lot of people's favorites, but I grew tired of the role she played after Borderlands 2. In fact, in the Borderlands, so real quick, and I'll just touch on this real quick. In the Borderlands 2 last DLC, where we're up against those doll guys, I hated her. I hated her character. Lilith was never this insecure. They rewrote her character to fit a narrative. Lilith
Yeah.
has never been insecure. She was the unwilling hero, which is bullshit. I hated that trope. I hate that trope anyways. Like, but they made it so much worse because I remember Lilith. Preston, I don't know how to say this, but we're going to break up. I just don't like how they rewrote Lilith. They rewrote her. She was, it was tragic. She lost her boyfriend. She was losing loved ones. It's tragic and all that. But she acts like this wasn't a thing she was used to. They wrote her character to fit the narrative to push how bastardly all these people are.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexist, honestly, because Lilith was a badass in Borderlands 1. She was a badass for all of Borderlands 2, except for that last DLC. Like, they
That's
really
not sexist, though. That's just being
they
stupid.
made they rewrote her character to make her an insecure, lovelorn, lost the love of her life, is an unwilling hero, which has never been Lilith.
Yeah, I
Roland
know
was
that.
that unwilling hero. That was his trope. They reveal that's who he was, that he was steadfast, but it never is what he wanted. It's why he left the Atlas military. It's part of the reason, outside of the war crimes.
He was like a commander or something, wasn't he? Like
Yeah, like Roland was a badass soldier. And it sucks because it's just Lilith's character got rewritten to fit that narrative that they wanted to push, and I didn't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Because Lilith to me was a badass out the gate, the biggest badass of the group, and they nerfed her personality. And they replaced her with Maya, who was also insecure, unwilling hero. I like Amara's character. That was what Lilith was and what she should have stayed as. And then became the commander of the Raiders, and they pushed that to Lilith after his death. Yep. And then everyone's like, Lilith, you have to do it. And she was like, no. And they're like, but you have to, please.
You have to, please.
And it's annoying. Like, Lilith did not stay true to her character. And they didn't even show the character, or her character development properly either. Like, I would understand, I'd be more okay with it if you watch Lilith's character development throughout the games get to that point, not through snippets in DLC. Like, I get it. What happened with Handsome Jack was traumatizing, but you don't really see it because, after Handsome Jack dies, she kind of brushes herself off. She's like, yeah, no rest for the wicked, right? And then, that's the last time we saw her until the DLC, where she was just like, I don't want to be the commander. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Lilith became too powerful for the direction Gearbox wanted the story to go. That's why she had to go. I'm okay with Lilith dying. I don't like what they did with her character, though. Her personality. Her personality became a stereotype. She was no longer the badass female lead that she's supposed to be. They changed her personality without the character development. I would have been okay with watching those insecurities grow. With watching them develop over time. That would have been okay. Not to see it after they have become a problem.
Yeah.
In all of her echo boxes, she's like, holy hell, this is badass. I feel tired, but this is badass. Like, I feel powerful. I want to go to war. She was awesome in her echoes. And then, you go to meet her and she's like blasting through badass psychos in Borderlands 2. Like, she is tearing it up. Like, she does it all game. And then She just got outsmarted by Handsome Jack and got the collar put on her because she didn't want to listen, because she is the hero, because she is a badass and knew what she was capable of. She just didn't. She just, didn't give Handsome Jack enough credit, which is the only reason why she was captured. They did that amazing, but they don't show her insecurities. Yeah, they only did rage, revenge, and depression, and that is not. Yeah, that right there. That is what they did with Lilith, but they didn't show her actually going through that process. They just said this is what it is. No, I agree with you. Honestly, Lilith's death at the end of Borderlands 3 was not the death she needed. She should have died taking out Tyrene Calypso.
It shouldn't have been you.
It should not have been us. That is what Lilith deserves. Like that's honestly what I thought was going to happen, was that
Honestly,
the destroyer she was going to die taking out the destroyer.
Honestly, I don't know if I would have felt more closure with Troy being the like final boss. But, like I feel like Troy should have
That
been the
too.
last thing that you like. Troy should have been the final thing that you fought. I feel like it should have either been like a boss fight, and then like Lilith takes over and finishes it off the way that she did, or like
You know,
it was like a cutscene.
but
Honestly,
ultimately Borderlands 3 was a good game. It was a much better game than people realized, and I actually think it's better than Borderlands 2, or at least it could be the greatest in the series if they hadn't taken personality directions that they did, and they could have fixed their pacing a little bit. But coming back to it, it's a much better game than I remember, and it is on par with Borderlands 2 in my opinion, because you just have to understand what parodies they're doing to get, like, you have to get the joke. Because there's some jokes in Borderlands that you just didn't get until you get older. Like, because I played Borderlands 1 when I was like 12,
yeah.
and then I come back to
geez.
it, and it's even funnier now. And then, once I realized what Pain and Terror was a reference of, and what the Calypso twins and why they were a perfect villain for what they wanted, like, look at the arms race mode. I'll take a look at it after a podcast.
I just uh, coming back to like
Well, we do have to move on. We've been talking about this for almost an hour.
okay.
Which, speaking of going back and, emotional impacts that video games can have, Angie, why don't you take the floor?
All right. Well, my segment today, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, you know, sometimes video games can actually be used for stuff like catharsis or therapy. Because catharsis is basically getting emotions out, or what happens in therapy. So I was thinking, there's kind of like three different reactions that you can play video games for when you need like a change of emotion or mood, like calm. Like if you had a stressful day and need a relaxing game, you can play like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing or Katamari Damacy. Something low stress or not frustrating, something definitely that doesn't have PvP. um, Sometimes you need to get some anger out. So, like, if you're frustrated and angry and had a bad day, you need to like friggin' smash something. Um, like, you want to just punch your boss's face in or something like that. And action or FPS or fighting games are pretty popular for that, like Borderlands. Howdy, Pristine. Um, MMOs that allow you to crush your enemies, like City of Heroes, the one that I played for a long, long time, 8.5 years. They had a class called the Brute that literally had a fury bar that filled up and made you do more damage and attack faster. The more damage you did to enemies and the more damage you took. So that just you just waded into battle and just turned into a hurricane of pain, and it was pretty awesome. And Mortal Kombat fatalities were perfect for this. But anger may not be the healthiest thing in the world, so you might want to just want to limit that. And then distraction, which is something that I, as a disabled gamer, am very familiar with. Sometimes there's something that's truly bothering you and you need a distraction like pain or anxiety or real life worries. Multiplayer games help immensely with that. So get friends together to help and take your mind off of things. Immersive games help really well. Uh, like co-op games like Phasmophobia or Stardew Valley, party games like Mario Party or Jackbox, friendly PvP games, and I'm using friendly in scare quotes because I'm going to mention Among Us or Fall Guys
Something that
because
is
I know
in
most of us here have had experience with Among Us and Fall Guys on Nex's stream, and friendly might not be the right word for it. Um,
No.
yeah.
something that doesn't
Uh,
involve stakes, though. Like, yeah.
yeah. And then there's squad based games like Dead by Daylight Survive with Friends or Apex Legends, where you're actually too engrossed in like surviving to actually have your mind on anything else. And then there's stuff like puzzle games like Tetris or actual puzzle games. So that's just my I, I mean I speaking as myself here, I am a streamer and I do stream a lot, and I have a lot of pain due to being a disabled streamer. I've got fibromyalgia, I've got arthritis, I've got some crushed discs in my back, I've got peripheral neuropathy in my feet, I've got just a whole host of things going wrong with me. So I've got like pain levels that are off the damn charts, and I've also got anxiety disorder and a whole bunch of real life worries going on. So I stream and I just do it to get my mind off of things. So one of the things that I absolutely love is just interacting with chat, and I go by way too late TV because I stream like really late at night, sometimes during the day. Like this is kind of an anomaly for me because it's like 5:30 in the afternoon right now, but but it's just a really great thing to play a game or something and just interact with friends or strangers. And that's why I'm one of the mods on Nexus channel, on Pristine's channel, on Pound of Flesh's channel. I just love interacting with people, and it takes my mind off of those things, and it just really raises my quality of life.
You know, and to that, I actually say that streaming, like as a streamer myself, it is extremely empowering. Comment coming, digging the red frames on the glasses. Hell yeah, they're nice. Me
I
personally,
love these things.
believe it or not, my favorite part of streaming is dealing with trolls. You want to talk about anger catharsis, because you've all seen it. Anyone that has sat in my chat long enough knows that I'll look at someone and be like, "You can actually go fuck yourself. I don't care. You're in my zone. You're in my world right now, and I'm not going to take your shit." And even if to them that doesn't mean anything, because they're just like, "Fuck it, it's some dude with 3 or 4 viewers. I'm just gonna peace out. This guy ain't shit." I don't care how they feel about it. For me, that means a lot, because I have issues looking at people and properly telling them how I feel. Over here, I'm a personality. Like, you guys do see the lot of the low energy that I am, but like, I pick it up just a bit. But who I am in reality is different from who I am here, and it's an actual like portrayal of who I want to be. I don't need to cut my hair. I love my hair long. I feel pretty.
Excuse me,
Feel
Preston. I
pretty.
think we already established what your high energy is. It's
uh, but
we still need to make that, by the way.
we do.
Yeah. By the
Uh,
way, I have the same frames in white.
but it's extreme. Like, I get to project who I want to be on stream and not who I actually am, people have sat with me, off stream and stuff. They get to see who I actually am, because I dropped the facade completely, and it's not the biggest facade out there. It's nothing like Doctor Disrespect or, you know, yeah, no, Doctor Disrespect is the biggest example I could give. One of the biggest,
Yeah.
literally big personality, big out there. Screw you, I hate all of you. This game's crap. You know, that's not who they actually are. And honestly, I take example for stuff like that because I get to project, who I want to be. Like carefree, no worries. There are parts of myself that are real. I will say that. There's a lot of this that, it's still me. But being able to stream and play video games, it is so cathartic. It's just such a release. Like, I feel bad, but the second I close, because I stream out of my if you can get into or build the right community for your personality, it can seriously lift you up and help deal with all the crap that goes on in your daily life. It's an amazing thing to have as support. It really is. I have one, like, honestly, between my community and the next generation, like, it's the best damn community I've seen built. And it's amazing just to see the amount of support and love that you get. And not every day is going to be the same. You're not going to be able to go every day, basically be like, I really just need you guys. But, because we're all people, we're busy. But we do have each other's backs. And I'm really glad I got to meet the community.
Absolutely.
Getting
Next
the other,
gen.
It's a stand-up community. That's why I like being around with you guys. It is, because it's uplifting. It really is, because we're all just a bunch of regular people. Like, there's nothing superhuman about us. Like, I don't think any of us here put on a completely different facade. Me personally, I know when I'm playing a game like Valorant or Apex and I do well, yeah, I'm a god. But that's not legitimately who I am or how I think. And when it comes to the cathartic part from games, hands down, one of the best games for venting rage or frustration or sadness is any game that puts the power in your hands and you get to keep it. So Borderlands is a great game for that. Games like Borderlands. I literally just showed up out of the blue and you guys took me in and we've been friends for years. That's the goal, because it's for me personally, it's about the chill vibes. We just want to hang out. You come to me. You don't come for the insane gameplay. You come to hang out. You come to hang out, chat, and just hang out. Get your mind off of things. Me personally, we all know, like, I smoke, I drink. I don't drink a lot, I don't smoke a lot, but I try to keep that kind of like environment, that vibe, that chill. Talk a little shit, talk a lot of shit, but you've got a lot of games that put power into your hands. Final Fantasy does that too, honestly. You are the hero of that story. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to win, but you just don't know how yet. Like, that's to me, that's really good empowerment. Or games like things that can take your mind off of it. Fallout's another really good example. But a game that's mechanically mechanically heavy. Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight, perfect.
All your focus is on your fight. All that focus. You cannot stray. You will lose if you don't, because
it's so mechanical too. It just gets to the point where you realize your focus is on the fight, because you have to go like up, down, left, right, and you have to actually time your moves and your jumps and your attacks perfectly, and you
Graveyard
just
Keeper
get
and
so
Shovel Knight.
involved in it. Yeah, Graveyard Keeper and Shovel Knight too. Yeah.
Another game.
I put Graveyard Keeper up there with Stardew.
Stardew, I played it a little bit of it with my ex, but I just haven't been able to get back to it. I want to, but I just can't.
Understandable,
get back to
yeah.
it. It's the same reason why I can't listen to Taylor Swift anymore.
Yep.
I just cringe. Now there's just some dude with white glasses.
I gotta see. I'm gonna be the odd one out here. And granted, like, I do have some games that are like cathartic to me. My big ones are like Isaac.
Yeah.
Anything like roguelike, something that I can like kind of just sit back and I've got like the mechanics in the back of my head because I know it well enough to like play it.
Is
and
this
like just talk a lot.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna hit the pause button real quick.
Okay.
Are you playing Isaac right now?
Yes.
I heard the little ding, and I'm like, hold up.
Yeah,
hold up.
I mean, but
Dead
see,
Cells
hear me
was
out.
good too.
Yeah, Dead Cells is great. But hear me out. But now I've been able to keep like a full conversation while also like playing what some people think is like one of the hardest games to come out in the past 10 years. Like, and here I am holding a complete conversation and using it as like a way to kind of keep my brain on track. Like, because
Well, like
ADD.
Enter the Gungeon's another good one. Actually, I
I
have that. I play it a bit, but
I played a little bit during the first part. I'm not gonna lie.
so
Played some
here's the
good.
but like so there are games that could be cathartic in their own ways, like a game that you just played so much that you don't need to focus on it, but you can
Mhm.
also use it to as a way to just communicate other ways. A game like that
But
for
my like
me.
before
Oh,
Roasting.
I was supposed to say a game like that for me is actually Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I pick that game up, it's just to me, it's just I just go through it. Or Metroid Fusion, because my first real gaming experience was on a Game Boy. Game Boy Advance, I think it was, for Metroid Fusion. But like,
Rectamundo.
shit, let me just throw these that way. For me, it's Resident
Yeah.
Evil. Resident Evil's great.
Yeah.
But for my biggest like cathartic thing, this is gonna make me like sound really old school. No joke, is dice on a table. Like if I throw like dice on a table, just that sound immediately like takes me into like good vibe territory.
I believe it.
I mean, that's not surprising at all. That's not odd. That's actually not even odd at all. So
You're a
interesting.
dice on the table kind of guy, man.
Yeah, well, I'm a so I've been two personalities against Twitch TOS. No, it's not. But like everybody who like knows me knows that like I'm a D&D dude first and like a video game guy second. And you know, it's not like they're super far apart either. A lot of them go like hand in hand. But I think that the social aspect of D&D is what kind of puts it above video games for me. Even though like video games you can have like online play and stuff, I get that. But just the sound of dice hitting the table and like the knowledge of like somebody's going to riff off of you or like something like that for 3 to 4 hours without having to stare at a screen is very like it's nice to know that like it's a thing that can happen and does regularly happen. I mean, like I've said multiple times, I used to Adventures League GM. I've GM'd everything from 2.0 because I was bored one day, wanted to GM 2.0, all the way up to like 5th. And like, I, well, granted, the sound of like a Game Boy turning on, the classic ding is cathartic. Like that, the first time that you like throw those shiny click clack math rocks on the table, oh man, just a small amount of drool always hits because it's like,
Yep.
yeah, this is gonna be a good time. Like,
So
Magic does the exact same thing for me, like shuffling cards. That's like one of those sounds that triggers like good emotion. And I'm like, endorphins, finally. It's been too long, my friend. Like,
you know, the feeling of the dice, which I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but I actually have had this dice set for the longest time. I just kind of want to show it off real quick because I love it. They're metal dice, so they're not all that practical, but it's like how pretty they are.
not good, yeah.
They're so pretty.
Ooh, those are pretty.
Um, and hold on. I think you guys should be able to hear it. Hold on. Let me just turn up my sensitivity real quick. My mic. Hold
You're
on.
gonna do you're gonna be like shiny, shiny click clack, go shake, 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 shake. Yeah.
They feel good. They feel really
Yep.
good.
Yep.
But
Yep.
ultimately, and I want to touch on something here just because it's been kind of sitting in the back of my mind since we're on, the discussion of stuff that is cathartic and whatnot. every once in a while I'll actually play a game that makes me really sad. I will play To the
Oh, yeah.
Moon. I'll go back and play To the Moon. Um, because something that we as just people in general seem to forget that it's honestly okay to vent these negative emotions, you know, rage, anger, depression, all that stuff. It's okay to vent that. And when I play To the Moon, it makes me very depressed because it is a tragic, like it's a happy ending, but it's really sad because, and for those of you who haven't played it, go play it. Like, it is probably one of the best puzzle games I've ever played. It's amazing. It's from the same creators of Harvest Moon, I believe.
Yes.
And it's a really sad ending, but it's an ending that makes you kind of sit there and you're like, you've got tears in your face and you're feeling it, but you also sit there and it's a release. It's a game because it's a game that allows you to have that release of emotions, and you really should basically give being sad a try, but being sad in a safe space, safe area type of way.
Mhm.
And it's a good kind of sad. It's a good sad catharsis in that region because games like that really do allow you to release those emotions. And it's something that I will always just be like, "Hey, this is something you should do." You know?
I'm
Yeah.
not afraid to admit the fact that like, and I've said it a couple times, but like FF10, I've beaten FF10 like multiple times. I've speed ran it. I legitimately cry at the end of every time that I play FF10. Spoiler warning on a game that's like 20 years old, about 20 years old now. Um,
Yeah.
like you, so
Wait, who was that
premise of
question for? Shadow, who was the question for? Elvin or
Elven,
Dwarven?
yeah, Elven don't make metal, so it'd have to be dwarf. Elves don't have metal; they make stuff out of like
Elvin or
you.
Dwarven? Oh, the dice?
Yeah, the
Elvin, all the
dice.
way.
Elves don't use metal when they make shit.
Yeah, they're dwarven.
I mean, they do, but it's not like an insane amount of metal. So, for those of you who are like unaware for some reason of the story of FF10, you are this blonde little. I'm gonna keep my opinions out. Your hero, his name is. He's a blonde moron. We'll just put it that way. And the entire premise is that this blonde moron has daddy issues. Also, must like save this world from being destroyed constantly by a giant angry sky whale named Sin. By the way, this is Dogma the game because
Oh, so much religious dogma.
it's
Holy shit.
Dogma, and you learn very early on that Sin is actually the main character's father. And you learn the entire like cycle of things is that this dude who is revered as a god because he was the first person that defeated Sin, named Yu Yevon. Well, he's so good at his job that he can't stop doing it even after he's dead. So every time that a summoner goes on the pilgrimage to defeat Sin to bring the calm, the summoner dies, and the final summon that they used, being a friend or a loved one, dies and becomes Sin again, and the cycle restarts anew. So you'll never, ever, ever get rid of Sin. That's the entire premise of the game.
Sin is
Because dog,
forever.
because dog,
Sin is eternal.
yeah, yeah, Micah. Uh, but what ends up happening is you kind of figure out the plan on how to really defeat Sin, how to end it all. And you have this really, like throughout the entire game, you kind of one side of the story that Titus's father, aka the main character's father named Jekt, is this like drunken sports star a-hole that like never really loved his family, never did this, never did that. And you get Titus's side of the story, and then you start learning that Jekt, while an asshole, wasn't really the asshole that you thought that he was. you start feeling bad for him because Final Fantasy does really, really, really good job. Does a really good job at like making you feel for the bad guy ever since 6.
Yeah, they overdo it.
And what ends up happening is like before like the final fight, Tidus and Jecht have this really heart-touching moment that apparently spans, I think Tidus is like 17 in that 17 years of pain and anguish in 5 seconds. They say sorry and then they fight because Japan. Because anime.
Because animu.
Yep. And you learn everything, and there's this really heart-touching moment about, Tidus finally forgives his father. I just died in Isaac because I'm an idiot. Tidus finally forgives his father, and you move on. You dinkle do. And like I said, because Sin, Yu Yevon is supposed to summon a new Sin, you don't have the final summon because of stuff that you've done in the story. So what is there to do but use the summons that you have gathered throughout the entire story? The thing that's supposed to kill Sin. You now have to kill every one of them, and it makes you feel terrible because not only do they refuse to attack you, but if you die during that fight, they bring you back
Oh, jeez.
the entire time. And in the little description bars, depending on what summon you're fighting, they beg you to kill them in many different ways. You're like, oh, well, I'm going to go and cry my eyes out for the next 10 minutes now because I've played 80 hours with this. How dare you? Hey.
There's
Then there's a lot of stuff, man. Like, there are a lot of games that do that very well, like Fly Me to the Moon. Wow, To the Moon. FF10 does it really well. A lot of the Telltale games do that, but they're kind of like too. If that means anything to anybody, like that makes any sense. You got stuff like Until Dawn, Tell Me Why. Next play Tell Me Why. And it's meant to invoke stuff like it's meant to invoke feelings of like, did I choose the right thing? Ending makes me cry, kind of thing. I gotta move my stuff around because gotta get comfortable. DA.
so
And it like you were saying, it's good to have those games because there are some people who don't like experience. I guess you would. I guess the term is like unconditional sadness. Like when you're human, like you lose a job and you're like that sucks, or like you hear about something sad, and you're so desensitized to the world that like that sad thing doesn't make you sad anymore. Like sometimes that's the only way that you get to feel sad.
yeah,
You have like a personal connection because what Fly Me to the Moon's only what like 4 hours or something. Like it's not a long
it's
game.
it's like an 8-hour game max.
Not long, but you getting that emotional connection to something that's
Oh,
like
they
pixel.
they do it
Huge.
so like you develop these emotional attachments so fast. And
Okay,
it's
are you?
again, it's just like a really sad story though, all around, because you get to see
Yeah.
this individual go through all these events in life, and you get to see like a real look into like who they are, who they really are, and why they want to, to go to the moon. Big
Mhm.
spoiler, whatever.
You ready for probably one of the most embarrassing gaming secrets that I have? It really isn't embarrassing because I was so young.
Hit
So
us.
last podcast we talked about like Pokemon, right? My most
Right.
quote, unquote, embarrassing like gaming secret is the first time that I beat Pokemon. If you like go back to Red and Blue and Yellow, Yellow is a really good one for this specifically because like it means a little bit more. It follows the show more closely, quote unquote, because you get your Pikachu. Um, when you beat the Elite Four for the first time, Professor Oak like pops up. He's like, "I'm super proud of you. You've come a really long way." Then he says a line, and it changes on your starter, but he says a line, and it still gets me to this day, where he goes, "I remember when you just left Pallet Town with a Charmander, because I was a Charmander main, and that for some reason broke me as a kid, because like you
Aw.
spent like as like a kid running through like Pokemon. Like Pokemon was never a long game. Like Red is not a long game. You can beat it in like 4 hours, to be completely honest with you. But like for some reason, man, that just resonated with me because you spent like 40 hours as a kid playing it. You know, like you didn't know where to go. Everything was mystery, everything was new to you. And the fact that like a game kind of acknowledged the fact that like you were a brand new player and you
Oh,
picked Starman. I just saw Canucks question.
I
Yes,
was about to
that's
say I just saw that. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
I go for it. It's rough, man.
Man,
Oh,
that's
I have video of that.
you? Is it
I
a
do.
14? Is it a 14 thing?
It's up on my channel actually.
Oh, so it's from 14 though, yeah.
It is from 14, yes.
Okay, you guys should go check out that video for Angies.
I'm gonna link it. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
Uh, wow, mine. Oh man, if you're talking shocking, like, dude, there's a lot. I'm trying to like narrow it down. And most shocking thing. I think maybe it's a tie between figuring out you've been used the entire time in Borderlands 1, like no joke, like that you essentially kind of were like the bad guys in BL1, and figuring out that Samus is a chick. And it's not because I'm like, misogynistic or anything. I promise it's not like that. It's more because the instruction manual refers to Samus as a he the entire time, and all of a sudden you figure out that Samus is a girl, and you're like, what? Like it kind of makes your brain explode.
Wow, I'm still trying to figure this one out because there's a lot of like really shocking moments.
That's a pretty big one, Shadow. Like figuring out the guardian, like who the guardians are.
Oh man.
I saw the guardians as your friends though, because like I played like Link to the Past. It mentions them a lot, and they kind of stuck to their guns when it comes to like Legend of Zelda story. There are a lot of like good, shocking plot twists in video games. Uh, man,
Who here's played The Last of Us?
yeah.
The ending to The Last of Us. Spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't played through it yet and plans on playing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
At the end, he had given her to the fucking fireflies. And then when he learns that they're going to kill her to basically make the cure for the virus or
Oh no,
the
no, it's
fungus,
not that. It's
or that
that
it would kill
you
her.
might be immune. It's not a guaranteed.
No, I'm
It's
talking
a
about no, it's at the end. It's like they are going to they're going to perform operations on her. This
that's
operation that will figure out why and how she's immune, so they can make a vaccine effectively,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I thought it was a chance. I thought it was
No,
like she might. No, I know that she's immune, but I thought it was a chance that they'd figure something out. Not that it was like
it was
guaranteed.
guaranteed. It was a guarantee,
Oh,
and
okay.
he fucking kills them all.
Yeah,
He kills all the fireflies in that building. Like he mows through them, and to me it was shocking. I was just like, holy hell, because he wanted to, like, he lost his daughter because of this, he lost everyone he cared about. He's a jaded asshole at this point, and even
oh
like
yeah.
I was so shocked that he kills them like remorselessly, and then lies to her at the end. The lie at the end of the game, to me I was just
I
like,
lied. I lied. I know the most shocking thing that happened to me.
The end of
like
Fallout
game
3, that's a good one.
in gaming history for me. And I'm gonna sum it up in 2 words. And every single person who played this is gonna know as soon as I say it. Are you guys ready for what is going to like blow your minds?
Go for it.
Hit us.
No Russian.
That was horrifying.
Yeah. If
That
we're talking
that
pop
mission was
culture right there,
horrifying.
that just popped up because you were talking about that. I changed my answer at no Russian. If you don't know what that is,
Evil Within was good too.
MW2, Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, trigger warning. Heads up, trigger warning.
And
No, seriously, like this is and it's gonna spoil what he's about to say, but this is a trigger warning for mass shootings.
oh, I guess, yeah. Well, not I guess, yeah. So in the game's menu, like when you start a brand new game, it asks you, "Are you offended by X?" And if you say no, you don't end up doing this mission. And this mission is called No Russian. It doesn't change the story at all. Like it's not like, oh hey, but No Russian has you riding in an elevator and the with like big old LMGs. And the only thing that this dude named Markov tells you is he looks you dead in the face and goes, "Remember, no Russian." You step out the elevator and you mow down innocents in an airport, specifically to send a message. In Vladov, I can't remember exactly where in Russia, but like in Russia.
It was the international one of the international airports in Russia, and at the end of the mission, since you are an undercover U.S. agent, he kills you, so they could blame it on the American CIA. They could blame it on the CIA,
Yeah,
and it's a
he
horrific mission.
does
It's
it. Yeah,
it sent
he
shockwaves
yeah.
through media, like all popular media. It sent shockwaves, news articles for months about it. It was one of the biggest shocking reveals in a game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, seriously. Like the reason that it like okay, and this can sound really really terrible. The reason I think it slipped my mind was just simply due to the fact that like it's a terrible thing. The reason that I didn't find it super memorable was because when it happened, I didn't take place. I think a lot of us just chose not to like fire a single shot.
No,
There were many times through that, like through the story of MW2, where I like have gone through that level and I just walk through it and I'm like, I'm done. I like it because I don't like the level, but I like the fact that it's part of the story because like it really pushes that narrative. Just did it in a crazy way. Like it really did. So I'll walk.
Dying Light wasn't. To me, it wasn't shocking because at that point, tropes like what happened in Dying Light were very popular at the time. The reveal of, oh, there's people alive and they've been lying. They've been lying.
Oh
That
yeah.
was to me that was the government lying. That was a trope. It wasn't shocking. I kind of called it. The
So, yeah. Um, the latest expansion in Final Fantasy 14, at least the one that is currently out. There's a new one coming out in the fall. The latest expansion is called Shadowbringers, and you go into a alternate world where the light has gone out of balance and basically taken over 3/4 of the planet, um, and bathed it in basically untenable living light, right? So you have to go there as the warrior of darkness and bring back the night.
uh
So anyway, there are these enemies there called sin eaters that are beings of pure light, and when they attack and hit uh, regular people, they send their ether out of whack, and the ether inside them, and eventually that person will turn into a sin eater themselves. The light will overtake the ether of all other elements, and they will turn into a light forged sin eater themselves. And there's this one part very early on in the expansion that lets you know that they mean business, the writers. And I'm going to put a link in the chat. And Preston, if you actually want to put this up on screen, it's a YouTube video. Or we can just have people watch it at their own discretion.
I'll just pull it up.
Okay. There's the link to the video. But there's this one kid, Halric, who is waiting to turn.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
That is the wrong one. There we go. That is okay. So that's my character. There's a kid named Halric who is
no luck then.
Right there is Alize. She's one of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. She's one of the good people with you. You're searching for Halric. He's gone missing. He's nonverbal. That deep into the transformation into a Sin Eater. There's the Sin Eater right there.
Did you see the size of that thing? It must be one of the nasty ones.
And
wherever it's going,
they're searching for where Halric might be. So they want to find Halric before the Sin Eater does, right? And there's a caretaker at the inn at Journey's Head, which is where the people who get hit by the Sin Eaters stay.
There it is!
Before they turn into Sin Eaters, and they kind of just feed them poison before they turn.
Oh no!
There's Halric and the Sin Eater.
Halric! We have to run!
And that's Tesleen.
Oof.
Tesleen, no!
And this is what I mean by they mean business. Trigger warning, body horror.
We all deserve happiness, wherever we can find it. The time left to you is precious. No one should die in pain.
And I'm not fucking around, body horror.
Mother, I...
That looks excruciating. Holy hell.
No, 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 no!
Well, okay then.
And the worst part is, Tesleen is the second boss in the first dungeon you fight.
That is something else.
You went back to a different screen.
There we go.
All right. But yeah, there's a way to bring NPCs into the dungeon with you instead of actual people. And you can bring Alize in with you. And when she notices that Tesleen is the boss that you're fighting, she goes kind of pale.
That is disturbing.
Yeah. And that's how you know they mean business. They set the tone pretty damn quick with that, and because I mean before this there was probably about 10-20 minutes of game cutscenes and whatnot where Tesleen shared her hopes and dreams with you.
Oh
So
no.
yeah.
They were just like,
Yeah.
let me
The
play at your heartstrings.
yeah, the writers were basically like let's end that.
Yeah, that's fair, Shadow Weaver. Like, Quake was something else. One of my shocking moments was when Soul sabotaged the hook in DVD and I was able to struggle free.
Oh, that.
Nice.
Chacho, that was like my best Sabo ever. All I'm gonna say. I had a really good one the other day too, where like I'm talking, it was milliseconds away from somebody getting hooked, and I'm like, yeah, nah, and like got the perfect Sabo off. I'm like, I am okay with this.
Jeez. Yeah, that's one hell of a reveal moment.
There's
Well,
another one I have up on my channel, but I won't waste time.
But ultimately, I think that was one hell of a question, honestly.
Yeah, that was a good damn question, Kanan.
Because there's a lot of like big reveal moments, Handsome Jack killing Roland, Samus being a woman, Alucard being Dracula's
son.
son.
Wait, okay, wait. I get okay. Okay, wait.
I mean, Alucard backwards is Dracula. We
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna say, I'm
But
gonna be that jerk and be like, really? But then again, like when you're used to like
No one
the
had done
Castlevania
anything like that
games,
before.
What?
No one had in no one had done something like that before. That's why that was a big reveal back then.
I mean, Star Wars?
he's got you there.
I'm talking about
I mean,
video games.
Okay, but okay.
Star Wars has video games.
And
Not
literally the biggest reveal that everybody talks about is like Vader. Do you know what Darth Vader means in German?
Dark Father. Anyone who knew German knew that reveal was coming.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's kind of along the same lines. Like, oh,
Well, of course, the context clues are usually left there. But the original theory at first for Castlevania was that Alucard was pulling the strings, that he was the actual villain the whole time.
Oh,
That was the original theory. That's why it was flipped on his head. That's his father. Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't actually remember much about when Symphony of the Night came out. So, yeah.
Big.
On a happier note, though, my favorite reveal is the fact that Silent Hill is controlled by Shiba Inu.
No, that's not canon.
Is that one of those joke endings?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice.
ending. You have to beat the game within like X amount of time, but you figure out
Yup.
that Silent Hill is all controlled by a Shiba Inu, which is hilarious. And then I think it's Silent Hill.
Boy.
Or one of the joke endings is everybody from Team Silent got horribly drunk and started singing about the game.
I saw that.
Just
Pound
pretty
played
good.
that on his stream, Pound of Flesh.
Yeah, buddy. It's a pretty good one.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Well,
And then go ahead.
oh, you go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, I was going to say there's one that comes in later in Final Fantasy 14 in the Shadowbringers expansion, but I know both of you actually play it, so it's actually a massive lore spoiler. So
Okay.
I'm not going to have you play it on the air or anything like that. But I will say that it is on my channel. It's called Amarot. Um, and if you look on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/way too late TV, you will be able to find it. And just realize that there is nothing in the game to that scale prior to that at all. And just seeing something of that scale where it is just amazing and blew my freaking mind when I saw it. So I'll leave it at that.
So we've been running for about almost 2 hours here.
Oh my goodness.
We got lost in conversation, of course.
We did. We do that.
So I kind of want to cut it here because I have nothing much more to say because that question took a lot of thinking power. there's a lot of there's a lot of big reveals in video game media. Like, it's insane. Like, oh, you know what? I'll say this. I'll end it with this reveal. Has anyone else here played Dead Space, the Dead Space series?
Yes.
I've seen it played, but I've not played it myself.
Any reveal regarding how the markers operate in the Brother Moons?
Oh yeah. But that was meant to make you go, what?
And it was
Like,
insane though, because you had no idea. You had no idea how these fuckers really operated. And then it was just like in the face. It goes, they're sentient, by the way. Hi. And you're just over here like, that doesn't help. That doesn't help me in the slightest. The fact that they, prey? Okay, which prey?
yeah.
The original prey was garbage. I hated it. The second prey, it was, it had a great story, great premise, and they went for the whole time loop stuff. Like, to me, that's a nasty trope. It's lazy writing. But I mean, it was good. It would have been nice to know that, everything you do wasn't all for nothing. But
That's Bethesda.
if you guys are not following No Soul for me, I need you to drop him a follow. And then there's the link for Way Too Late TV with all the stuff you would need: YouTube, Twitch, and other media. And for me, if you'd like to show me some support, here's a link to the link tree. Of course, the podcast is going to be uploaded tomorrow afternoon. Make sure to go check it out if you missed it, if you missed parts of it, because we had some really good conversation yet again. And yeah, I think there's anything else you two would like to say.
No, I'm good. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for gathering the forces here, Prestine.
I appreciate the advertisement done by the other two here. And Soul, what you getting into after this? You going back to streaming?
Possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that I'm gonna go like way later, just because it'll be time for like wine time, and RPGs are really good for that kind of thing. This is the third game I've had with Magic Mush. Y'all are my lucky charms. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to leave.
Well, we're gonna go do a little raid over to Eternal Foxfire then. So go
Sounds
show
good.
her some love, and I will catch you all tomorrow. And if you guys just like coming for the podcast, I'll see you all next Sunday. Peace out.
Night, everybody.